Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how to fix this issue on a 2017 E300. This is a car with about 110,000 miles, and initially this error that's showing up, flashing alternately auxiliary battery malfunction, is in red, and it dings at you after a few cycles of telling you that there's this problem. It goes to this white display, but it still says the same thing: auxiliary battery malfunction. Now, this vehicle does not have an auxiliary battery, but it has a voltage converter, which I'm going to show you how to replace. The voltage converter is actually located in the footwell of the passenger side, and to do that I'm going to have to remove the trim, the hush panel that's underneath, and pull back the carpet that's down there. So let's get to it and I'll show you where it's at exactly. Okay, the first step is to remove this trim piece here, and it's held in by a series of snaps. They go straight down, and then there's I think there's one that goes straight in this way. So usually you can just use your hands and grab the trim and pull straight up, and it'll come out. It'll slide right out. Later on we're going to put this back in, and you do the exact reverse to get it back in, but just got to notice that there's this tab right here, has a slot in the front that it goes into. There's also a tab at the top, so basically you can just kind of put it in at an angle like this, rock it into position, reach in and put that tab into place and snap them all back in. And just as you're doing that, you'll be able to see the details where it snaps in, and just watch it to make sure that you're not accidentally trying to push in an area that's not aligned, and you should be fine. Okay, this next part is pretty simple also. This is just above your feet on the passenger side. This is the hush panel I was talking about. There is a light here that's going to need to be disconnected once I pull this down, and there's a sensor wire on the side here, which I'll show you in a second. But to get this down, it's basically snapped in, so get your fingers up above it and pull straight down. It'll pop out, and then towards the center of the vehicle you'll have to kind of bend it in to get it past the holder, but it'll basically slip out. I'm going to change views to show you those wires real quick. Okay, now we're looking at the back side of that same panel. You can see there's a connector here, and it has a tab that you can just press in, and the wire should come out, and the same thing here. So remove both of those to make it easier to get this thing out of your way. So what I've done now is just pulled the carpet up so I can gain better access. Just want to show you a little bit better view of what's in here. That's the cover that I'm going to remove, and those are 10mm nuts. So let's remove those. Okay, with that plastic cover removed, this is what we have. This wire is extra. It's an accessory that was put in later, so don't worry about this wire. But the culprit is that guy right there. That's the voltage converter that we're going to take off, and it's basically one 10mm nut at the top and one connector at the bottom there. The part number for 2017 E300 is this guy right here, and sorry, it's hard to do this one hand, but that's again what it looks like right there. That's the same part that's up there. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the nut that's holding it at the top, slip it out the bottom, and disconnect the connector and put it back in. So let me do that now. I need both hands to do that, so I'm going to switch back in just a second. Okay, I've removed the retaining nut, and here's the regulator that we're going to replace. And I just want to show you, to get that wire off of there, there's a little white tab. You have to pull that white tab up. It'll make a little snapping sound when you put it back in its holder, so it's easier to do with one hand. Okay, here we go. There it goes, snapped. So I pull that white tab off. Now you just pull on the connector as you squeeze down, and there it is. It comes out, and that is the regulator. And to put it all back, it's exactly the opposite direction. So I first slip in the new one. This is the new one. Hard to do this with one hand, but try this. Okay, get the nut started on here. Put that guy back on. And then plug this back in. And then don't forget to push this little white tab back in to lock it in place. That part is now replaced. I'm going to just basically reverse everything to put the car back. And One last note for the last trim piece here, there is a snap that's along this side on the other side. Get that in first. Once you got the back of line, get that in first. Otherwise this edge is gonna not want to sit in this groove. And then you're gonna probably have to push the entire assembly forward as you snap in the snaps that are along this piece here. And you can see underneath it as you're doing it, so just make sure you're aligning all of the snaps in the correct positions, including the last one. And then this has already been pressed down, but just press it in place as you see there. If any of the seal gets caught up underneath, fix that with your finger. There you have it, just like that. None of the seal should be caught up underneath, and this should be sitting in that groove. That's the end. Okay, with everything back together, I'm gonna restart the vehicle, make sure the problem went away. You can see that this one filled at 111,000 miles, or just over 111,000 miles. Let me start the vehicle. That air comes up pretty quickly, so we should know fairly quickly here. And there you have it, the problem's gone away. There is no auxiliary battery in this vehicle again, even though that's what the error says. It is a voltage regulator, fairly easy to replace. At the time of this video, that part cost $200 and it had a $15 core charge. So it's about 200 bucks for a factory part. I think I've seen some rebuilt ones on eBay for around $40, but being that the cost is so low, I would recommend just getting an OEM new part. And that's it.